Again, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to Table of Christ as we do as I do this presentation on reversing cholesterol. So I will stop and pray. So let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you and praise you for your love and your mercy. Thank you, dear Lord God, for bringing each and every one here to be educated. Thank you for, the information that you have given us, that there are so many that suffer from high cholesterol, and it affects them in so many different ways. And I thank you, Father, for the information that you have given to your children so that we don't have to live and suffer with these diseases. We can follow some principles that you have laid out for us, and it would help us to either reverse it or even control it. So, Father, I just want to thank you and praise you. Again, I pray that we invite your Holy Spirit, that you would, use me in a special way. I hide behind you, dear Lord God, and I pray that everyone listening will not leave the same, but they would leave with information and education that they will be able to use or help someone else along the way if they don't need it for themselves. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' precious name. Amen. So, yes, so again, we're talking about reversing high cholesterol. And I just want you guys to know that, Table of Christ, there's a disclaimer. The information that is being given in this lecture, it is for general education, and it is not intended to substitute any medical advice. So nor is it for diagnosis or any cure of diseases that, so the information is given for your general information. If you need any further advice and medical attention, please go to your physician. And the Lord gave the word to ancient Israel. But if they would cleave strictly to him and do all his requirements, he would keep them from all the diseases such as he had brought upon the Egyptians. But the promise was given on the condition of obedience. So it is conditional. When you obey the laws that God has given to us, then you will not have the diseases that he brought upon the ancient Egyptians. Now, what is health? Health is a great treasure. It is the richest possession that mortals can have. Wealth, honor, or learning is dearly purchased if it be at the loss of the vigor of health. None of these attainments can secure happiness if health is wanting. So if you're sick and you can have all the wealth and everything in the world, you cannot buy health. It is something that's so, there's a saying that goes, without health, you cannot obtain wealth, and again, so because when you have good health, it helps you to gain wealth and to enjoy the wealth that you have. And so we teach from three perspectives. We teach from the Bible, the spirit of prophecy, and good science, because there's a lot of science out there that is not good, and we all have experienced some of that. The curse, causeless, shall not come, it says in Proverbs 26:2. So really what it's telling you is that disease never comes without a cause. There's always something that causes us to have a disease process. What is the definition of disease? Well, disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from the violation of the laws of health. So when you have a disease process, it's like your alarm going off telling you something needs to be fixed or changed. And what are the laws of health? Pure air, sunlight, abstinence, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. The first thing to be done is to ascertain the true character of the sickness and then go to work intelligently to remove the cause. So once you know what is happening, then you can go to find out exactly what is happening to help you to get better and remove the cause. So if the harmonious working of the system has become unbalanced by overwork, overeating, or other irregularities, do not endeavor to adjust the difficulties by adding a burden of poisonous medicines. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained. Unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected. Then, nature is to be assisted in her efforts to expel the impurities and to reestablish right conditions in the system. So whatever you might be doing that is not, that is hurtful to your body, it has to be ascertained, it has to be found out, and then nature would work to help to remedy the system. So the use of natural remedies requires an amount of care and effort that many are not willing to give. Nature's process of healing and unbuilding is gradual, and to the impatient it seems slow. The surrender of hurtful indulgences requires sacrifice. So that's the caution, a lot of times it takes years for our disease process to manifest itself. And then we want it to go away quickly. So we tend to want to deal with the symptom, taking a pill or doing things that would quiet the process that is happening. But later on, you feel, it actually gets worse. So you have to be very patient in terms of when you're using natural remedies, because it does a perfect work of, as it said, unbuilding, what was already done in the healing process, undoing what was done. And it is a gradual process, but it is a perfect process. Our bodies are very forgiving. And in the end, if you do, use the natural remedies and the laws of health that God has given, it will be found that nature, untrammeled, does her work wisely and well. Those who persevere in obedience to her laws will reap the reward in health of body and health of mind. So you can begin to reduce your bad LDL cholesterol naturally by just making a few simple changes in your diet. So if your cholesterol is creeping upward, your doctor has probably told you that you need to diet and exercise. The traditional cornerstones of heart health can help to bring it down. And this is true, but if you'd prefer to make just one change at a time to lower your cholesterol naturally, you might want to begin first with your diet. Because a lot of times this is really the main culprit of high cholesterol. So just making a few simple changes to your diet will help to bring down your bad LDL cholesterol levels naturally. A major analysis of several controlled trials involving hundreds of men and women found that dietary changes reduced LDL and total cholesterol, while exercise alone had no effect on either. However, adding aerobic exercise did enhance the lipid-lowering effect of a heart-healthy diet. A major analysis of several controlled trials involving hundreds of men and women found the dietary changes reduced LDL and total cholesterol, while exercise alone did not have any effect. So what it's really saying is that, your diet is actually very important. If you just use exercise alone without changing your diet, you will not have any positive effects. So we have, normally what the medical field, what they would normally prescribe is Lipitor or atorvastatin. And so when that is used with proper diet and exercise, it helps to lower your bad your bad fats, right? Your LDL levels. And then it increases your good cholesterol, which is your HDL. So this group of drugs is known as statins. It works by reducing the amount of cholesterol made by the liver, lowering bad cholesterol and triglycerides and raising good cholesterol. It decreases the risk of heart disease, and it helps to prevent strokes and heart attacks. In addition to eating a proper diet, such as a low cholesterol, low fat diet, other lifestyle changes also help the medication, which includes exercising, losing weight, if you're overweight, if you stop smoking, and this is just to name a few. And just by going on a proper plant-based diet, these are all the things that would help you in losing weight, exercising, and all of the other, laws of health. So it's very important to continue to follow your doctor's advice about diet and exercise. And it may take sometimes up to 4 weeks before you start to get the benefits of this drug. And when you look at some of the side effects, when you look at the drug, when you look at some of the side effects that this drug causes, and normally when you go to the pharmacy, they would give you a printout of some of the negative or adverse effects of the drugs. So here it's telling you that it can have, sorry, I can't quite see. It's small. So it's telling you that it's changed to the other slide. It's a little better. You suffer from indigestion, you can have constipation, you can have joint pain and various different disease symptoms from the drug. So you just have to be aware of it. So you have some symptoms that are less severe and others that are more severe. So you can get things like flu-like symptoms, pain, rash, diarrhea, and these are just some of the less severe symptoms. And I'll just go through a few of the more severe ones. And so numbness, tingling, and pain of the hands and feet, muscle problems, increased pressure in the eyes, pancreatitis, eye hemorrhage, angina, abnormal heart rhythm, blood pressure may drop while you're standing. So it's called hydrostatic blood pressure sometimes when you sit too fast, or so you just have to be careful with those things, and those symptoms can be very severe. Too little attention is generally given to the preservation of health. It is better to prevent disease than to know how to treat it when it is contracted. By the use of poisonous drugs, many bring upon themselves lifelong illnesses, and many lives are lost that may be saved by the use of natural methods of healing. So drugs do not cure diseases. Drugs never cure any disease. What the drug Sorry, I lost my screen. What the drug does is that it only changes the form and location. So when drugs are introduced into the system, for a time, they seem to have a beneficial effect. So you may feel good after you do it. A change may take place, but the disease is not cured. It will manifest itself in other forms later on. So because what happens at that point, the drug, you've just put in a poisonous, you put in some poison into your body. So let's say you have a rash, for instance, right? And you take a drug, the rash may go away. So now your body starts to deal with the drug that you have put in, and it stops, so it leaves, the rash that was on your skin, your body was pushing it out, saying, okay, I don't want this into my blood, into my bloodstream. So when you use that drug, it quiets the rash, so it seems as though it worked, but it's now dealing with getting rid of that toxin of the poison you just put into your body. The disease which the drug was given to cure may disappear, as I said before, but only to reappear in a new form, such as skin diseases, ulcers, pain. You may have a lot of pain, diseased joints, painful and diseased joints, and sometimes in a more dangerous and deadly form. Nature keeps struggling, and the patient suffers with different ailments until there is a sudden breaking down in her efforts, and then death follows. Our body only knows how to live, so it does all that it can to ensure that you live. So after it's exhausted all of its resources and used up all of your vital forces, then the only thing that follows after is death. So we want to know cholesterol. You've always heard of cholesterol, HDL, LDL. Cholesterol, is it a hero or is it a villain? And we'll sure find out. So, you may ask yourself, you've always heard the term cholesterol. What is cholesterol? Cholesterol is a fat-like, wax-like substance found in the blood. It is not inherently bad. Your body needs it to build cells. So, sometimes cholesterol really gets a bad rep because your body do need cholesterol to help with building your cells. It helps to make vitamins and other hormones. But too much cholesterol, that's where the problem comes in. It poses a problem. And you get cholesterol from two sources. Your liver makes all the cholesterol that you need, and the remainder of the cholesterol in your body comes from the foods that you eat. And you only get cholesterol from animal products. So from your meat, your poultry, your dairy products, these all contain dietary cholesterol. So if you're eating a proper diet, a proper plant-based diet, you will give your body what it needs so that your liver can make the right amount of cholesterol that is needed. And so, and then we have two types of cholesterol. So you have your HDL, which is your high density lipoprotein. And then you have, so this is your good cholesterol. And then you have your LDL, which is your low density lipoprotein. So you see, as you're looking at the two types of cholesterol, we see that with your HDL, we're also seeing here, if you look at your blood vessel, you see there is no fat, there's no fat deposits there. It's nice and clean. Your blood, everything is flowing well. But when LDL starts to build up within your blood vessel, within your artery, that is where you start to get that fatty substance that starts to stick to your arteries and cause you to have plaque. So you will see the various types of, as we go through the next few slides, you'll see what a normal artery would look like. And that's what it looks like. That's the first with your proper HDL. It flows, everything flows through very nicely. And then here you have one that, so in here you see the fatty streak. So you see that it starts now to get that buildup of your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. And that's just the beginning of problems. So as you continue with, eating and not exercising, eating the wrong type of foods, which we'll get into later, which you'll see the difference. Then, so those fatty streaks turn into cholesterol plaques. So it hardens and it starts, and that's where you can get heart attacks, and it starts to block your arteries. So you see, that's just the beginning, and it just gets worse if you don't change your diet and exercise and do something about it. So here you see where the arteries are thoroughly, like narrowed to the point where even blood cells are very hard to go through because you see the narrowing of the artery there. and you see the, the plaque buildup. So now let's talk a little bit about HDL. We're talking about some cholesterol symptoms. So what are some of the symptoms that you might have? So you start to have high blood pressure, then you may see that there is a change in vision. You may have chest pain, and then you have xanthemia. So what is that? That is like it's cholesterol or fat buildup. So you may have it like around by your eyes, the eyelids over here, and under the eyes. So it's a kind of some people have it and it looks like scarring. It's kind of yellowish, and so also you would have poor circulation, slow wound healing, neuropathy, atherosclerosis or hardening of the artery, and then you have low extremity pain in your hands and feet as a result of the hardening of your arteries. Also, you may have erectile dysfunction, diabetes, as insulin production is reduced because of the cholesterol buildup in the beta cells of the pancreas. So what it does, it actually blocks the pancreatic cells, the beta cells, so that insulin cannot be released into the bloodstream. And so you see, so it has more damaging effects, cholesterol, than just like heart disease, or it affects other organs as well, not just your heart, because you have arteries running throughout your body. What are some of the functions of cholesterol in the body? Cholesterol is responsible for manufacturing all of your sexual hormones, vitamin D production. It reduces stress in the human body. It helps to make bile in the liver. Plus, there's over 200 other functions of cholesterol in your body. Did you all know that? You see, we are so fearfully and wonderfully made. So which of the manufacturers, which organ manufactures cholesterol in the body? So cholesterol comes from, as I said, two different places. Blood cholesterol comes from your liver, and it helps your body to build cells and to make vitamins and certain hormones. Your body produces all of the cholesterol it needs through this process. Dietary cholesterol comes from foods you eat, primarily animal products like meat, eggs, cheese, milk. Dietary cholesterol can lead to health problems as it gets too high. So that is where we would see. So eating animal and its products can pose a huge problem in terms of giving you bad cholesterol. So when you're looking at what causes cholesterol, anything that has a liver, anything that comes out of that has a liver or related to that of a liver, it has a face and a mother. So normally we say anything that has a liver, face, or a mother. And sometimes you could also get it from certain mushroom. And these would all have cholesterol that can have negative impact on your body. What about people may say, well, fish is good for me, isn't it? Well, let us learn here. Fish and its product are loaded with cholesterol. Fish contains between 40 milligram and 130 milligram per 100 gram of cholesterol, and among similar to meat and cured cheese, but less than that of eggs and butter. So shellfish has 150 milligrams per 100 gram, more than double that of lean beef. Wow. So you see why God gave us certain foods as we go into the diet that God gave man. He also gave us certain meats and certain foods that we should not even indulge in. And we're seeing that man, meat was never really man's first choice of a diet from God. So you may want to know, what foods contain cholesterol? So when you look at, your bacon, chicken, You look at so much of your processed foods, your sausages and deli meats, all of those things. Oh, what about when you go to, one of those places that, serves fast foods, right? Burgers and things like that. So you have your meat, your cheese, and then you load on all of those sauces and all of that. These are all the things that, to name a few, that actually this is where you get cholesterol from. And again, you're looking at things like pizza and, fried onion rings, your fries and chicken and all of those heavy, fried fast foods that one may eat out there. This is where you get your cholesterol from. And this is just, to name a few. And look at this, when you look at eggs, people say, well, eggs couldn't be that bad. Eggs is good for me. Well, one egg contains 250 milligram of cholesterol, of which 300 milligram is your daily limit. So just one egg. And most people, they don't just eat one egg, they eat two or more eggs, and they say 2 eggs is a serving. So when they say 2 eggs is a serving, you're getting 500 milligram of cholesterol. You've already surpassed your daily limit. And then when you add to that, which is 300, so you're already gone over 200 milligrams for your daily limit. And then when you add to that pizza, and you add to that, fried chicken and fries for the day, I am telling you, you become a walking time bomb. Cholesterol buildup is just, screaming all over your arteries. So, and there are other foods that also contains that's high in cholesterol. When you look at your ice creams, you look at cheese, you look at butter, and you may think, well, they taste good, but they don't do your body any good. Again, we talked about pizza. So there is so much evidence. There is a lot of evidence out there with implicating that there are trans fats in heart disease. So where do you get a lot of your fats? It's the trans fats from all of these foods and the evidence is out, the jury's out that this causes heart disease. There's a good correlation between the trans fats and your heart disease. So trans fats are created by adding hydrogen to a liquid fat to help it solidify. Food manufacturers started using trans fats because they extend the shelf life of the package and the baked goods. So that is why they use it. It's for their benefit. It's not for your benefit. Fast foods, these companies love to use it because they can be reused over and over. So when you go and you get your fried chicken and your fries, so what happens? That fat is used over and reheated over and over and over again. And so, and it's definitely not good because it just has a long life for the companies that is using it, but very hurtful to your body. Although, there's a lot of public pressure in some of these food industries so that they can phase out using these trans fats, but they have really not disappeared entirely. So what they have done, you have to scrutinize the label because they come in other forms now. They use different words. Before you would see trans fats. So you have to read your package. Now you will see partially hydrogenated as one of the things that is listed on your ingredients by, so anytime you look and you see a product has, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated in it, you have to know that this is another name for trans fats. And so before you go, you have to go and ask the cook, do you use any partially hydrogenated oil that you cook with? Because they may say, we don't use trans fats, but it comes in different forms. And so foods containing cholesterol are exposed to air. The cholesterol can oxidize. So when they're combined with oxygen, it makes it more damaging to the arteries. So you're looking at things like whole milk, partially powdered whole milk-based formulas. They provide the ideal setting for cholesterol oxidation, thus causing a lot of clogging of the arteries. And this is all in good science, Cholesterol is only found in animal products, and flesh foods, such as, your fish, your beef, chicken, shrimp, turkey, lamb, to name a few, butter, eggs, ice cream, as we've said before, milk. So plant-based foods such as grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables, they contain no cholesterol. And you can get, so what you want is good fats as opposed to trans fats. How do I get good, healthy fats that my body needs so that it can help to, to produce the good cholesterol that is needed? You'll get it from things like avocados. You also get it from things like coconuts, right? So you can eat the dry coconuts. You can also, get your walnuts. You get it from your grains, your seeds, your nuts. These are things that, you get it from olives. So instead of using the olive oil, you can use the olive. And so, these are things that is very helpful. So do you know that if we practice good, healthy lifestyle and we eat meals that is high in cholesterol, such as, things that are high in animal-based meat, using that as your protein, it negatively affects your cholesterol for the next 2 weeks. So can you imagine just eating one meal, negatively affects your cholesterol level for 2 weeks. So if you indulge once every week, or two, it keeps your cholesterol levels very high. Animal butter causes cholesterol to jump by 20% in a few hours after use. Can you imagine? Were you guys aware of that? 20% just a few hours after you use it. And also, so then you people may want to say, can a vegan or vegetarian have high cholesterol? Obviously, the answer to that, I should say, is yes. Why is that? When you use too much fats and oils, in your diet. So instead of eating the olives, you use a lot of olive oil, or you use a lot of vegetable oil, or, even if it's coconut oil and you say, quote unquote, it's good oil. The thing is that it's processed. So that is why it has a negative effect on you. Did you know that using, foods that are high in cholesterol or non-dairy cholesterol, you can have non-dairy causes of cholesterol is related to thyroid-related issues, drug-induced. So these are some of the things that, although you may not be using, animal products and all of that, but if you have thyroid issues, it causes thyroid-related issues. Also, drugs can induce cholesterol. So some of the prescription drugs causes you to have high cholesterol. Stress can also cause your cholesterol levels to go up. Your hereditary tendencies, so if you have hereditary, if you have that within your family, and then sometimes some spiritual issues. So if you're having anything that is stress related, it can cause your cholesterol levels to increase. The American Association states that a good cholesterol level should be less than 200 milligram per deciliter. But when you look at it, plaque deposits, it starts to build up at what cholesterol level, one may ask. So your LDL is 100, and it starts to build up at 180 milligram per deciliter and above. So anytime it goes up, 180 mils or above, you can start to get those cholesterol deposits. Individuals with total cholesterol levels or less than 100 milligram per deciliter have never once had a heart attack. So if you keep your cholesterol levels, 150, less than 150 milligrams per deciliter, you are safe. And again, eating the right foods and exercise and, following the laws of health. So as I said before, for optimal health, your cholesterol levels should be less than 150 milligrams per deciliter. What are the two main carriers of cholesterol? So you have your HDL, which is your high density lipoproteins, and your LDL, which is, and your HDL is your good cholesterol. Your LDL is your low density lipoproteins, which is your bad cholesterol. And so I'll give you a definition of HDL, a lipoprotein that transports cholesterol in the blood. It's composed of a high portion of protein and relatively little cholesterol. High levels are thought to be associated with decreased risk of coronary heart disease and atherosclerosis. So when we're looking at values of cholesterol, males are 40 milligrams per deciliter and above, 75 milligram per deciliter and above. This is what would protect your heart. Females, however, 50 milligrams per deciliter and above, their HDL levels, this is what helps with them to have good health heart as well. And so for your LDL, a lipoprotein that transports cholesterol in the blood is composed of high portions of protein and relatively high levels of cholesterol. So high levels are thought to be associated with increased risk of coronary heart disease and atherosclerosis. And so when you look, you want to, you see, it's like driving a car. You see that hand, if it goes too high on the speedometer, you know that you're going over the speed limit. So you want to keep it within normal range, right? And it's the same thing with our LDL levels. So for male and female, you want to have a reading of less than 130 milligrams per deciliter. And for optimal heart levels, you want to keep it at 90 milligrams per deciliter. So once your level starts to get above 180 milligrams per deciliter, this is where you know that it starts to attach to your arterial walls, the cholesterol, starting to cause damage. So you may want to ask, what is triglycerides? I'm sure you've heard the term out there a lot. So it is a glyceride occurring naturally in animal and vegetable tissues. It consists of 3 individual fatty acids bound together in a single large molecule, an important energy source forming much of the fat stored in the body. So we need it for energy. The body converts excess calories, sugar, and alcohol into triglycerides, a type of fat that is carried into the blood and stored in the fat cells throughout the body. So you want to aim for your levels to be less than, again, reiterating, less than 150 milligrams per deciliter. So then you would have no negative effects of this. And so in order to have your cholesterol levels under control and to have good health, good heart health, and good health, God has given us a diet. So you may want to ask, what is man's best food? And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be food, in Genesis 1:29. So God has given man the ideal diet, the perfect diet. You can find it in Genesis 1:29. And this will give you not only perfect heart health, but perfect health, or one of the things that would. What is man's best food? Grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. So, and listen to this, people may say, you're a vegetarian or you're a total vegan. Where are you going to get your protein? Or you might be lacking in certain things. But no, the counsel's been given in grains, fruits, vegetables, and nuts are to be found all the food chemicals that we need. How much did I say? How much of the food chemicals? Food elements that we need, all of the food elements that we need. You will not lack anything if you do a variety of, of those, that food daily. So coronary angiogram, distal left anterior. So when you look at your left and your right, you're looking at your arteries, right? So look here, you're looking on the left side, and you can see that, the artery is is clogged. So when you look the artery before on your left and after on the right, so 32 months after having a plant-based diet without cholesterol-lowering medication, it shows profound improvements, right? So if you're looking at the artery, you can actually see that. Are you guys seeing them? The difference in right, great, Rhea. Just point it and show them, yeah. The difference in the arteries, you know, before you start on a plant-based diet and after you start on a plant-based diet. Right, so you're seeing the plaque buildup, and then you see where it is, you know, just about gone. You're having, there you go, you know, a healthy artery. So that is why, you know, as we had said earlier, a plant, you know, just diet with, you know, even more so than exercise when it comes to your cholesterol level makes a huge difference, because it is what you put into your body is what causes you to have that buildup of cholesterol in your body, as well as the other things that we say is non-dairy related. And when we look at ice cream, you know, people think that ice cream is just so wonderful. It is so tasty. And I'm telling you, I was such a ice cream lover, you know. It is very lethal, however, because what is ice cream made of? It is made of custard, milk, eggs, and sugar, all the things. And so when these things combine together, it destroys the inner lining of your blood vessels. So we were showing you how it oxidizes, right? So this accelerates the buildup of cholesterol plaque in your blood vessels. So next time you go to put an ice cream to your mouth, you know, that's made of dairy products, of custard, milk, eggs, and sugar, think about what you're doing to your arteries, how those fat deposits is, you know, it goes from your mouth to your arteries, right? As it's digested, it you know, goes to your bloodstream, causing you to have a lot of, you know, health issues. So what are some of the things that you can do to, if you have the issue of cholesterol in your body, you know, just by changing your diet, increasing your consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables, that is very helpful to helping you to start to get rid of some of that cholesterol buildup. And if you don't have any cholesterol buildup, or if you're already on a clean diet, you just want to continue. And how does this happen? You know, what happens? So fruits and vegetables have scads of ingredients that lower cholesterol, including fiber. So cholesterol blocking molecules called sterols and stanols and eye-appealing pigments, because, you know, when you say eye-appealing pigments, when you look at the color of your fruits and vegetables, there's an array of color compared to meat. So the heart healthy list spans the color spectrum: leafy greens, yellow squashes, carrots, tomatoes, strawberries, plums, blueberries. As a rule, the richer the hue, the better the food is for you. So you want to have those nice, rich colors. Look at it. Doesn't it look so appealing? So make sure that you get, and that's why we always say that you must get a rainbow of colors every single day when you eat your food. And so when you add, you know, these foods, they help to lower your LDL cholesterol, or your bad cholesterol in the body. So what are some of the ways it lowers it? So some of these foods that we just saw previously, you know, your array of fruits and vegetables and all of that, they deliver soluble fibers, which binds cholesterol, its precursors in the digestive system, and drags them out of the body before they get into the circulation. So before they even get into your, you know, into circulation. So some give you polyunsaturated fats, which directly lower your LDL, and some contain plant sterols and stanols, which block the body from absorbing cholesterol. Aren't we fearfully and wonderfully made, saints? You know, what an awesome God we serve. And there's some of the foods that you can eat, you know, when you're looking at some of your grains. Oats, and it's an easy step to lowering your cholesterol. You know, so a bowl of cold A bowl of oatmeal or cold oat-based cereal like Cheerios for breakfast. So you have your hot cereals or you have your cold ones, which is like Cheerios. It gives you 1 to 2 grams of soluble fiber. When you add a banana to that and some strawberries for another half gram, so current nutrition guidelines recommend that you get 20 to 35 grams of fiber a day, with at least 5 to 10 grams coming from soluble fibers. Another good grain, barley and other whole grains like oats and oat bran. Barley and other whole grains can also help to lower the risk of heart disease, mainly via or through using those soluble fibers that they deliver to your body. And we already talked about the positive effects of soluble fibers within your body. Next, you have beans, a variety of beans, right? Beans are especially rich in soluble fibers. Did you guys know that? They also take a while for your body to digest it. So, meaning that you feel full for much longer after a meal, compared to if you go out there and you have some fast foods every minute, before you even eat it, or, you're hungry. But when you have a whole grain diet, because of the fiber content in it, it is released, the sugars are released in your bloodstream lower, and also it does that cleaning as we talked about, right? So it makes you stay full longer. And this is the reason that beans are one of the foods that is really good for those who are trying to lose weight. And so you have many choices of beans. You have navy beans, kidney beans, lentils, lima beans, black-eyed peas, black beans, this is just a small amount of beans here, but there is just such a variety of beans, and they are very versatile as well. You could use them in many ways. You can use them to make burgers, you could make them as stews, and there's so many ways that you can use beans. Also, you have eggplant and okra. They're also very high and good sources of soluble fibers, and they're low in calories as well. Then you can add nuts. A study showed that a bushel of studies, or a variety of studies out there, show that eating almonds, walnuts, and peanuts and other nuts, they are good for your heart. Eating 2 ounces of nuts a day can slightly lower your LDL on the order of about 5%. Wow, that's a good increase there, to lower your bad cholesterol levels by 5%. Nuts have additional nutrients that also protect your heart in many other ways. And when we say that, you don't need to have a whole lot of nuts. So, it's just, the small, in the palm of your hands, just having a small palm of nuts, and use it at the end of your meal. You can use that to seal off. It's good fat, and then it has that lowering, the power of lowering your LDL. Then you can also go for things like apples, grapes, strawberries, citrus fruits. These fruits are all rich in pectin, and they also are a type of soluble fiber that lowers your LDL levels. So you see why God gave us that Genesis 1:29 diet, and so we also have soy, and this is one of the soybeans is one of the foods that is excellent when it comes to lowering your LDL levels. So when you look at it, things like tofu, soy milk, you can also eat the soybeans itself. It's powerful, very powerful for lowering your cholesterol. And it shows that the effect is more modest than consuming 25 grams of soy protein a day, or 10 ounces of tofu, or 2.5 cups of soy milk can lower your LDL levels by 5 to 6%. So just think about that. Now, when you look at, sometimes, people want to say, okay, you can use fiber supplements. They are not as appealing, and you don't get as much soluble fiber in them either. So 2 teaspoons a day of psyllium husk, they are bulk forming as a laxative, but they only provide you with 4 grams of soluble fiber daily, compared to if you eat your foods, So a largely vegetarian or dietary portfolio of cholesterol-lowering foods can substantially lower your LDL, your triglycerides, and also lower your blood pressure. So I would say, if you have not started doing it, you can actually start today to get the full benefits. So the key dietary components are plenty of fruits and vegetables, whole grains instead of highly refined nuts. Sorry, instead of highly refined foods. I'm thinking about nuts. So you see, I said highly refined nuts, but highly refined foods you want. And protein from your plants. That's where you want to get your protein from. You can also add oats, barley, psyllium, okra, and eggplant. All these are rich in soluble fibers, soy protein, and whole almonds, just to name a few. And, so there's a variety of plant-based foods out there that is good for you. And, and just as if that wasn't good enough, let us give you a little tip here. Do you know that a diet that is heavy on fruits, vegetables, beans, and nuts is good for your body in ways that beyond just lowering your cholesterol? Yes, it also keeps your blood pressure in check. It helps your arteries to stay flexible and responsive. It's good for your bones and your digestive health, for your vision and your mental health. I mean, so look at all the other benefits you're getting, not just lowering your cholesterol levels. When you have stored cholesterol, they can be very lethal to your body. So when you use products such as milk, cheese, butter, ice cream, meat, fish, etc., when these things interact with oxygen in the air, what we say, it oxidizes it and stored, it produces an estimated 32 oxidized products. So these chemicals can have a lethal damaging effect on arterial walls, thus begin to accelerate the buildup of cholesterol in atherosclerosis. So some oxidation products were so toxic to destroy cells that line the arteries in less than 24 hours. So you have oxidation of some of these products that is used. So it's very destructive to your cells. So I hope you're already running out there, starting to think, I should say, look at some of the good things that I'm going to do. So how do we turn on the faucet? That's what we want to do. How do we turn on the faucet? So how do we turn off the faucet? Because we turn it on by the foods that we eat, but we now want to turn it off. So how do you do that? You eliminate all flesh foods and their byproducts from your diet. Eliminate all dairy products, all fried foods, all foods that are high in processed foods. You'll want to eliminate all sugars and only use natural sweeteners. So you can use fruits, you can use dried fruits, you can use, fresh fruits, and, and you can use a little bit of honey as well, to name a few. And you want to also eliminate all the caffeine or anything that's any caffeinated foods that you use or drinks, you want to eliminate them from your diet. You also want to avoid all refined sugars and refined grains. So you want whole grains are another good source of fiber instead of refined flour, white flour, or white rice. So you want to try in its place to replace them with whole wheat flour, brown or wild rice, old-fashioned oats as opposed to quick oats. That's a good, because the quick oats, a lot of the fiber is taken out of it as well. So that too is also processed. So sometimes you think we're having oats and we're just having some quick oats, but you want to go for the old-fashioned oats. So as I said, you want to remove anything that is processed, just to reiterate, anything that is white, any white flour or anything like that, you want to eliminate all of those things from your diet. Yes, so we are continuing to, how do we turn off the faucet? How do we turn off our faucet? By using, increased fiber-rich foods such as whole grain items, brown rice. You want to use You want to increase your consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables. Use lots of string beans, up to 1 cup daily. Increase your water intake. That also helps to flush out some of those and it thins your blood, because fats normally would thicken your blood. You want to eat olives, at least 7 olives daily. As they say, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. 7 olives daily could also keep the doctor away. You want to also include in your food sesame seeds. So 2 tablespoons daily has unsaturated fatty acids, which makes it effective in decreasing the level of cholesterol in your blood. It also contains lecithin that dissolves cholesterol in the blood, preventing arterial plaque. So I would say definitely go for sesame seeds in your diet. And these are some of the things that you can also include in terms of foods that you can include to turn off the faucet. If the sink is overflowing, you want to turn off that faucet and mop it up, right? So what can you do to turn off the faucet? You can eat things like avocado, apples, strawberries, blueberries, all your various kinds of berries, oranges, grapes, olives, peas, broccoli, carrots, to name a few, pistachio, cashews, almonds. These are some of the nuts that you can have, walnuts, peanuts, eggplant, okra, as I said earlier. So these are some of the foods. Try to include them in your diet to turn off the faucet. Yes. And they also sell something called lecithin granules. You can use 1 to 2 tablespoons of that. If you're suffering from high cholesterol, you can, do not overdo your fats and your oils in avocado and coconuts and nuts. So do not overdo the oils. You want to be careful with those things, right? Don't overdo them. So you can use things like flaxseed or chia seed, 2 tablespoons freshly ground. You can grind up your flaxseed and your chia seed together, and you use 2 tablespoons of them daily. This is helpful. Pumpkin seeds, a 1/4 cup with each meal is also very helpful. Then you can use things like kelp and dolls. Sprinkle over your food daily. Eat 7 olives daily and eat artichokes, artichoke leaves. This is also good for you. So now that you started turning off the faucet, now you want to unplug the sink. How do we do that? With lifestyle. So you want to avoid things like smoking and drinking alcohol, because if you have a clogged sink, right, you still would not get the full benefits. You want it to be everything to drain smoothly. So you want to reduce your excess weight, exercise daily. So 1 hour of continuous walking lowers your cholesterol, and it also burns fat and sugar. And exercise is your best form, and walking is your best form of exercise. You want to check your medication. Eat at a set time. So, eat your meals at set times your body likes schedule. Get adequate sunlight between the hours of 9 and 3 p.m. daily. You also want to go to bed before 10 p.m. nightly. You want to reduce the stress in your body. Avoid excitement before bed, like your nightly news or, listening to things that would not calm you down. You want to have nice, put on some nice Christian music. Think about good things. You want to avoid competitive situations. Hereditary risk factors also require extra caution to diet and lifestyle. And look at some of the results that they have shown, that scientifically has been proven to reduce high blood pressure. The results from running and walking. So when you're running, it can reduce your high blood pressure by 4.2%. But when you're doing brisk walking, 7.2%, to reduce your cholesterol level. Again, running, it reduces it by 4.3%. But when you do your brisk walking, what does it do? It reduces it by 7%. You reduce diabetes by 12 to 1% if you're running, but walking 12.3%. Heart disease, 4.5% running, but when you walk, 9.3%. So this is all, so Life Science Division at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory looked at data from 33,000 runners and nearly 16,000 walkers to compare the relative health benefits of each activity in May. This was done in May 2013. So again, we see walking as a champion, right? And then you don't have that negative effects on your bones either. So how can we mop it all up using some herbal recommendations? So when you look at it, you're looking at hypolipidemic herbs. Hypolipidemic herbs help decrease the level of blood lipids or cholesterol and triglycerides in the blood. You have saponin. It contains herbs such as fenugreek and turmeric. These may help bind cholesterol molecules in the digestive tract to prevent reabsorption into your circulation. Galanase, 2 tablets twice a day with each meal. Or you can use garlic. If one desires to use the 4 cloves of garlic, you have to make sure that it is heated. And you can use the 4 cloves, so you cook it and you eat it with your food daily. Make sure that it is cooked though. Fenugreek seed or turmeric, the rhizome, you can use that. Also 1 tablespoon to 4 cups of hot boiling water. You simmer it, so you would put the fenugreek seed or your turmeric into that. You simmer it for 15 minutes in 4 cups of water. Then you draw it for 4 hours. You drink throughout the day. And then you also have Gemina sylvestri. You can do 2 tablets twice a day with each meal. And most of you would know chromium, the GTF chromium. So you do 400 to 600 milligrams daily, and you look for the picolate, chromium picolate. Hibiscus tea. You can also use 2 tablespoons. You steep it for 40 minutes. 40 minutes up to 3 hours in 32 ounces of water daily. Linden tea. You also use 2 tablespoons of this steeped for 40 minutes in 32 ounces of hot water daily. All of these things are some of the herbal recommendations. Then red yeast rice, as directed on the bottle. You use it with CoQ10, 60 milligrams of CoQ10. You have niacin, or which is also called B3. So 50 milligrams used as directed on the bottle, but be cautious with large amounts of niacin supplements as if you have high blood pressure, gout, or any liver disorder. So you want to check with your physician. B-complex, you can also use it as directed on the bottle. These are some of the things that also helps. Vitamin D, you want to take 500 IU daily until your level is back in line. So there's, sometimes you can't go out there. There's places where you don't get the sun, right? But if your levels are high, you can still take some vitamin D. You can still also get your sun, and this would help. Lemon water, they said that when God took away the tree of life, he left the lemon tree. 16 ounces or 2 glasses of warm lemon water. You put 1 lemon to 16 ounces of water, and this helps to clean up the plaque from the arteries. So you can use 8 ounces of warm water to 1 lemon as well. So it all depends whether you use 2 glasses of warm water or 8 ounces, but you want to use it 1 lemon. And that helps. And just a heads up, let me tell you, cholesterol levels can normalize within 4 to 12 weeks, depending on the severity of plaque buildup. However, if you follow the plan, you should be able to resolve the problem within 3 years. We've seen, I have actually worked with people and seen it resolve within that 4 to 6 weeks. And sometimes, people that have had, arteries block, we have seen the problem resolve within 3 years, so it is good to follow the plan that God has given to us. And so if you have any questions, I want to, thank you all for participating. this is the end of the presentation. I pray that it was helpful and educational to each one that was listening.
Thank you, Sister Lystra. That was very, very clear, very insightful. And I'm sure we all learned a lot. I see them saying thank you in the chat. We are down now to the question and answer segment of the presentation. So if you have any questions for Sister Sodhi, if there's anything that you took note of and you wanted to ask about, you can go ahead now and share. Sister Olive, I see your hands up. Go ahead, Sister Olive.
Okay, I was trying to unmute. Sorry about that. Okay, so I would like to know, I just recently had a physical and my HDL is 60, but my LDL is 105, and the doctor is saying that that's high. Is that, and the total cholesterol is 188. I mean, is that something, do I need to be concerned about my LDL at 105?
Yeah, well, because your total cholesterol, as we said, it is, it should be under 150. It should be under 150 milligrams per deciliter, and lower is even better. So, it's what I would say is that, it's 188, which is, a little bit over because they give you the levels up to 180. But, anything below 150 is it's better. So what you can do is just implement some of the things that you have learned. I wouldn't say to get all flustered about it, but just get to work. So so it all depends on, if you can make certain dietary changes, as we point out, lifestyle changes. So you want to start with those things first, start with your dietary changes. And, if you're not on a proper exercise program, so just walking, it doesn't have to be anything, but just do some brisk walking, increase your water intake, again, go out there and get some sun. So those are some of the things that you can do to help you lower.
Okay, I have been doing a lot of that, but I think the problem was I still use a little oil to saute my herbs if I'm cooking, my rice and stuff like that. And I'm just going to change that and saute it with water. But how much should my 105 be? I mean, I'm sorry. How much should my LDL be?
Well, your LDL cholesterol, it should be, sorry.
And the HDL, because the HDL is, they said the maximum is 60, but I still can't figure out what the LDL should be.
Well, I think what you're looking at, sometimes we get so stuck up on the numbers. You want to make sure that you correct what you need to in order to bring your levels down. So if you know that, okay, so you said you started, are you on a plant-based diet?
Yes, I have been for years.
Okay, so again, so anytime you see your cholesterol levels start to go up, and you have to look at other things. We talked about stress, we talked about medication, if you're on any type of medication. So you really want to look at what can I do to bring my levels down, and then you could use some of the, the herbal remedies that we discussed as well. So what you really want to do is, so the oils, that is something, if you're using any reading labels, as we said, so you want to make sure that you're not using, instead of, as you said, sauteing your food with oil, you want to saute it with, so get away from the oils as your levels it's already starting to go up there. So use the water instead and just use, a handful of nuts, use a little bit of avocado, use those kinds of things, your good fats, introduce your sesame seeds, your flaxseed, and do those things instead. Have you already implemented some?
Yeah, I do eat all those stuff, but I just don't understand why my LDL is high. I mean, my cholesterol total has gone down, but why is it, it's still so high? I don't understand. I walk, I exercise.
How is your stress level?
As far as I know, I try to keep that under control. I don't worry about anything. Maybe subconsciously.
Your vitamin D levels?
Pardon?
Your vitamin D3 levels?
I have to call them because I don't see the results of that on my test, and that's important. I always check, make sure that was, at the level it should be. So I don't know at this point. I'm going to call them this week.
And do you live somewhere that is, in the Caribbean, or do you live somewhere that is cold? Like, do you get sunny year round? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, I go out and I sit. No, I don't get to go out every day because it has been raining a lot over here. But when I can, I go and I sit on the deck for, an hour. I go to sleep and everything. And I just don't understand why.
And do you have a family history as well of high cholesterol?
I do.
Or any liver issues. So those are some of the things that, so some of the, a family history of high cholesterol. So you just have to, just keep, just be patient, just continue to, exercise and, just again, just implement some of those things, start to use things like, the, unless if you have any, I'm not sure if you're on any kind of medication. So you just, you have to kind of, in order to, we'd have to probably do a proper assessment in order to really go and really nail down as what is really the issue.
That's what I don't understand. I don't even take an aspirin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we still have to go through a health assessment and really, just to really see what the real issue is. It's kind of hard to do it on a platform like this.
Okay, thank you.
But we can definitely set up, you can definitely, go through a health assessment, and that would probably, as you things that you may not even be thinking about,
Right.
So that would kind of pinpoint what the issue is.
Because that's the only health issue I have. I mean, I'm just concerned about it because I don't want my cholesterol to go high.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than that, I'm healthy. I don't even take an aspirin.
Well, that's good. To God be the glory. But again, to get really to the nitty-gritty, definitely a health assessment would be in order.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sister Olive. Sister Lystra, as we move on with the questions, someone was asking that they are on a plant-based diet, but they don't know why that they are always feeling so hungry when they're eating a plant-based diet. That was the question. Do you have any idea why it is that they never really feel full?
So the question is, a lot of times we say we're eating a plant-based diet. Is it refined foods? Is it, is it whole grains? And, and what are they eating? Like so in terms of giving an answer to that, again, you'd have to do a proper assessment to see what their meals are like, the quantity, what kind of work they do. There's so many other things that can cause that, that they're not full.
Amen. And from my own personal experience, I've noticed that a lot of people say that they eat plant-based diet, but sometimes the plant-based diet that they eat, because a lot of people believe that plant-based diet is a certain thing and they just stick to that one thing. It's not varied, it's not, and you have to make sure you eat a balanced diet. But one of my encounters, what I've noticed is that once you start training yourself, even training your body to eat properly and to incorporate all the food groups that we're supposed to be eating. After a while, it will be difficult in the beginning, but after a while, your body begins to adapt and you yourself become satiated to the amount that you're eating. That's what, based on my experience of people that I've encountered and myself, that's what I have encountered. I don't know if you have anything else that you would like.
And also sometimes too, if you might be eating, but if you're not, after your 2 hours, if you're not drinking enough in between your meals, that would also account for you being hungry when you're actually, your body's thirsty.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I find, even for myself, I do my 2 meals a day. But if I don't sip my water, allotted water throughout, within those 3 hours, so 2 hours after I eat and, the next 3 hours before your next meal. So, having your 5 hours in between your meals, I find that too can cause you to, to say I'm hungry when you're really thirsty. So there's a number of reasons why that can be.
Good observation. So someone asked, you were speaking about ice cream, and someone asked what about soy ice cream?
Well, we're talking about dairy, right? So we're talking about anything that has dairy with animal products, eggs, because custard is primarily eggs that you make dairy ice cream with, right? And then the milk that you use, and then the sugars that you use. So again, the soy ice cream is good, but again, everything that we do, we must use it in moderation.
But we also have to take in consideration the temperature of the food that we eat. So that is something else that goes into question with that.
Okay? Right. You have to hold it in your mouth until it comes to room temperature before you swallow it, because then it also hampers your digestion. Absolutely.
Okay, I have another question here for you. I have gained so much weight on a plant-based diet. I think I eat too much. I eat oats and fresh fruit, homemade granola or smoothie for breakfast, lots of nuts and beans, and a ridiculous amount of rice with 2 cups of vegetables. I'm eating like a horse.
Well, I think the person answered their own question there. Overeating. So, and then, so you may want to find out what's causing you to still, if you're eating a plant-based diet and you're eating all these grains and stuff, you would still want to, an assessment is in order as well to see what's the real issue, and then, so you want to know, do you have any other health issues, right? Because so many other things can also cause you to always be eating and hungry. So, do you have other health issues? Thyroids and various things like that can also cause you to always, never be full, right?
Check your sugar level also. That
right.
Would be a big thing to do. Next question. Is intermittent fasting bad?
Well, when we eat certain times, that's intermittent fasting, but not the intermittent fasting that they tell you that you can eat at midnight and all of those things. So if you're doing what the world calls intermittent fasting, it is not healthy. It's not healthy, because our bodies, when you in the morning, what you want to have breakfast, right, at a decent hour. You want to make sure that you have 5 hours between your meals, and you want to make sure that you have your last meal between 4 and 6. Some people have it a little earlier, because 4 to 5 hours before you go to bed, you must have nothing on your stomach so your body can go through the healing process. So if it's the intermittent where you eat and then you wait, and then you go every 12 hours. I know I had a friend that did that, and she was just, it did not do her body well at all. Initially, she seemed to be doing okay, but then she started to have a lot of negative effects from that. So absolutely not if it's the way that the intermittent fasting that the world gives.
Okay, I have another question. With drinking lemon water, I'm worried about my enamel erosion.
Right, so that's a good one. I mean, they all have been good so far. So normally when you're doing your lemon water, you always do it with a straw, because you're right. Because it just as how it gets rid of all your plaque buildup and your fats and stuff like that in your blood, it also erodes your enamel in your mouth, on your teeth. So you want to use a straw. Then you want to still swish before you brush, and then you would brush your teeth after you're done. To make sure that you get rid of the lemon from your mouth so that you would not have that effect. Because it can make your teeth very sensitive as it starts to erode the enamel.
Yes. Okay, I think I've gotten to all the questions in the chat. Is there anyone else who has a question and did not get the opportunity to ask your question? You can unmute your mic and you can ask your question at this time. Okay. Well, that's great. Yes, Jid, open your mic and ask the question. If you have a question, you can go ahead and ask your question. JID, did you want to ask a question or you were just saying you're in agreement with what's going on? Okay.
Yeah, in agreement. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I would like to ask the question.
Sure, go right ahead.
Right. Well, I don't know if it's a question, but I have been practicing a lot of the suggestions that were made on the program. And my issue is not with gain, but with loss. In fact, I used to do the lemon water, and that slims me down so much that I had to stop. Now, since I went on the plant-based diet and doing a lot of what is suggested, as I said, I've lost some weight, and even my family members, they kind of reluctant to get onto the program because they do not want to lose as much weight. So sometimes I wonder, well, we hear a lot about weight loss, but not much is said when it comes to this diet and weight gain. But that is my struggle. I really do not want to go back.
So
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Is it
I wanted to ask
or weight gain?
She's having weight loss.
Okay.
Weight loss.
She's been having a lot of weight loss. So
Yes,
how long have you been on a plant-based diet?
I would say 5 to 8 years.
5 to 8 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So normally what happens when you start, I know that when I first started, the first few months to a year, I actually went from a size 9-10 to a size 3, to be honest.
Wow.
I lost a lot of weight, but I had some issues. So what happened is that, as I tell people, it depends on what they, and that's why it's sometimes good to do a consultation. So as you start losing the weight, all the things the cells that was not made right, your body starts to get rid of that. And then, as it does that, sometimes it's amazing. As you start to build new cells, then so the very same diet that I lost the weight on is the very same diet that I gained the weight on. So then you have to also look at, make sure that you're eating a well-balanced diet as well. You have to also look at, sometimes you're losing the weight, but what kinds of foods are you eating? And is it the same food over and over? Sometimes you may have to put you may have to do some tweaking as well to your plate and to your diet if you have that tendency depending on what is happening. So it's kind of hard to give out like a blanket, so sometimes, if you have that issue, you may want to have a little bit more grains, a little bit, it all depends on some of your avocados and stuff like that, or your nuts. It all depends. Again, you'd have to do an assessment to really see what the issue really is.
Well, my diet is very limited. Without cutting it short, sorry. I am gluten intolerant. That's the only other thing. I am gluten intolerant.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Is there any other disease processes or anything like that?
Yeah.
So but even then you can still do a proper assessment, and that would kind of help you to see what you can do so that you can still continue with your diet and try to regain some of that weight.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, someone is asking if a coconut oil diet is bad for high cholesterol levels, or did you post that? I saw someone ask it up a little higher and I didn't get to that, and I'll see it again. So is coconut oil bad for you?
Coconut oil is refined. So as we said, any kind of oil, even vegetable oil, if it is processed, it can send your cholesterol levels up because it's, you know, you can eat the coconut, but you have to be careful of the refined oils.
Okay.
So sometimes people say that they are, plant-based, but they, again, the kinds of oils that they're using, they go to the doctor and their cholesterol levels is high. And they're
Right.
still frying their foods and things like that. So yes, it can have a negative, if that's what you're doing, it can have a negative effect on your cholesterol, yes.
Okay. All right, I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question and you did not get an opportunity to do so? You can please unmute your mic and ask the question.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Sister Nadine.
Yes,
Good afternoon.
I have a genetic predisposition to high cholesterol. I remember being in college and my mother giving me soy lecithin a lot because every time I went to the doctor, I would test at 260 or 261. And it hasn't been any different since I've been an adult, since I've been vegetarian. It has not changed. My doctors, they haven't put me on any medication because they've said that my HDLs are higher than the LDLs. And so they're not necessarily concerned. But my question is, because I'm still concerned. So my question is there a test? If I know what my cholesterol level is, and they're telling me, okay, HDLs is so much, LDLs is so much, but is there a test that can tell me if there's some sort of blockage in my arteries?
Yeah, there's tests that you can do, but at the same time, there's certain like angiograms and things like that that would tell if you have a blockage. But you would also know it in you would have symptoms. You would also have symptoms telling you. So if you know that you're predisposed to that and you're already following you know, all the things that we talked about today, you just have to continue, you know, make sure that you know you have a full array in terms of your diet. And that's why here having a hereditary predisposition or disposition, I should say, to high cholesterol. So, you know, you even have to be more diligent in terms of following all the you know, everything that was talked about today. And so even if it fluctuates, and as you said, your doctor said that your HDL is way higher than your LDL, so I don't think that you would have to be too worried about that if you're doing, you know, if you're following those things. And again, you know, to really give you a, you know, to see if there's anything else that you can probably do, we'd have to do an assessment as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we want to thank, was someone else going to say something? Okay, we want to thank Sister Lystra Sodhi so very much for this presentation today. I know it was very educational and very informative for us. We want to give God praise and thanks for today. And I just want to encourage everyone to please invite your family and friends. We will be coming to a close now, but we will be resuming tomorrow morning on this same link. And we will be starting at 9. Would we be starting at 9, Dr. Ephraim? We will be starting at 9 a.m.
Yes, tomorrow at 9.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m. We will be starting again to continue with the lifestyle seminar. Please invite your family and friends so that they too can come and obtain knowledge that's free of charge, and they can come and be able to educate themselves more about their health. So we want to thank God for that. Thank you once again, Sister Lystra Sodhi. Thank you everyone for your beautiful singing and those who participated with us today. we want to give God praise and we want to give him thanks. If you will just join me so we can have a closing prayer. Dr. Ephraim, can you please give us the closing prayer if you are able to?
Let us pray. Dear most kind and merciful Father, we thank you for the gift of prayer and for another beautiful Sabbath day of rest. Lord, we thank you for all the information that we received today. I pray, dear Father, that none of us will leave this platform the same way we came on, that our lives will be transformed, and that as we learn these things, dear God, we will put them into use, dear Father, because knowledge is not knowledge unless it's applied. So help us, dear Father, to become more healthy and to follow your laws of health, because you want us to prosper and to be in good health. As we leave this platform, dear God, help us not to leave from your presence, but help us to continue in prayer and supplication and to continue to worship you. Continue to be with all the families represented. And I pray, dear Lord, that each one of us will try to invite someone else out for tomorrow and for the rest of the week, on Monday when we meet again. Because, dear Father, the message needs to be heard by each and every one. Persons around the world need this message. There are so many that are sick. Your servant of the Lord tells us that she saw plenty of suffering ones, plenty of them. And Father, they are around us, they're in our midst. So Father, I pray that they will all come out so that they too can hear your words and that they can have a closer walk with you and be healthy as well. Continue to be with us, continue to bless us and keep us.